Greetings and felicitations to all my fellow toy soldier mavens out there. We have 9 rooms to detail in our 40k Necromunda Fallout Shelter terrain mashup. Today we review how the gate room gets painted and detailed. Check out our channel to see all the stages of this exciting project. This is our gate room, fully functional, but clearly in need of some paint and detail. And this is our gate room in all its finished glory. We start the process by detailing items that will be in hard-to-reach places, like the ceiling gantry crane here. This crane was meant to allow our vault dwellers to load and unload cargo from the surface far more efficiently. The crane itself is merely made of cardstock, and the motor is a plastic bit from my bits box. Once the crane is installed, we need to make sure the electronics still work prior to installation. The next phase is to detail things with the walls off for the ease of installation. Here we see the red-yellow traffic warning stripes being installed. I'm an old guy with shaky hands and I do paint a lot of things, but when they need geometric precision, I tend to print and weather. You can also see the floor screen has been dry brushed a dark metal color. With the primary details done and the walls painted, we can start some assembly. The primary color palette for the vault is tropical blue, daffodil yellow for the walls. These two are Deco Art Dollar Store paints. I used Vallejo's Tinny Tin for metalwork and a variety of 1950s looking flooring finishes. The rust finishes are done with a variety of browns, oranges, and inks. With the gate door dolly installed, we need to test it prior to any further installation. I have developed a healthy paranoia of building circuits and then worrying about me breaking them accidentally further on. Here we continue to assemble the pre-painted walls. The final weathering is done with everything installed so we can apply it more naturally. There are several fairings being installed so that the background and electronics will be hidden when seen from a player's view. Anything I don't want focus on is painted flat black. Typically I only paint items that will be seen so that I can avoid having to paint any electronics. You can see my heavy use of cotter and mounting pins. This ensures everything stays in place but is still take apartable for maintenance. The gate entrance certainly screams safety stripes, so this is me painting the pattern onto masking tape. I chose masking tape because it is a larger area that the tape will help install. Then the edges were touched up with runny crazy glue to ensure permanent installation. I would have preferred to print these patterns, but printing on tape is beyond me currently. The soul of a terrain piece comes from its bits and greebles and gubbins and details. I have a tub of painted bits that saves me a ton of time, so I grabbed a bunch and started permanently installing them with pins and mounting holes. I'll make custom bits as needed, like I did with the forklift that you'll see in later shots. I cogitated a lot over permanently mounting the bits, and you can easily argue that movable bits adds to the variations of missions that could be employed in a gaming table like this. However, the idea of bits getting lost or broken from casual use seemed more of a risk than playability, so I decided on permanent mounting. The placement of the bits supports cover and line of sight issues without being too intrusive. They could even be ignored totally if a player wishes. Nobody will debate, however, that their presence greatly increases the rule of cool. The roof is the last piece to be installed. The square at the bottom right side of the roof is the infrared receiver for the door. Hey, I'm in pictures. With the room fully painted and detailed, we need to install it into its mountain home. It slides into its mounting rails nice and snugly. Once done, I need to fish out the power leads that will connect it to mountain power on switch 3. Lastly, we put the mountain top cover on. It slides into place via tongue depressor mounting tabs. Once done, it'll get locked into place via cotter pins. With everything hooked up, we can cycle the door for the very first time with it in its permanent home. I've used an infrared remote to open and close the door. And here is the interior of the gate room as we cycle the door. The room is fully weathered and detailed now. I used ash, sand, and tiny rocks as floor litter. I've included a couple of Mycadians for scale and story building. We finish up our chapter this month with some additional work in progress shots, as well as some glamour pics. I'm really pleased with how it finished up. The dirty and gritty floor will be a staple for the rest of the rooms. When I conjured up the story of how and why a Vault-Tec fallout shelter survived 40 millennium, only to be discovered by the Emperor's minions, I wondered if the leap was too much. I shrugged and got lost in the details of building the piece. In the end, it's my story and I'm sticking to it. So began the idea of a still hermetically sealed fallout shelter vault being exposed by a recent seismic event and ultimately discovered by members of the Adeptus Militarum stationed on Terra. Next, we'll see the lake detail on top of the mountain being finished, as well as more of our rooms. Titus approves of this message.
The Emperor wishes you a lovely day.